The following morning, Earth's Unified Security Council convenes in an underground facility beneath Geneva. Faces grim, military and intelligence leaders from 17 nations review the diplomatic catastrophe frame by frame. "Play that segment again," General Yuzuki Tanaka demands, jabbing a finger at the screen where High Counselor Zax Turl's tentacles form complex patterns while speaking about Earth's classification. Dr. Okafor nods to the technician. Watch his bioluminescence during this statement. The footage replays. This time, everyone notices. Whenever Zax Turl mentions guidance or restrictions, secondary light patterns pulse beneath his translucent skin. Patterns unsynchronized with his main communication display. "It's a tell," explains xenolinguistics expert Dr. Hassan. He's saying one thing while his secondary communication channels are likely conveying something entirely different to the other council representatives. Admiral Reyes leans forward. "Can we decode it?" "Not yet, but the patterns intensified when discussing our technological limitations and space travel restrictions. I believe they're communicating something about containment protocols." Security Chief Zhang slams his palm on the table. "They're not here for diplomatic relations. This is a quarantine operation disguised as a welcome." Surveillance footage from the GA diplomatic vessel reveals further concerns. Their environmental team collecting extensive biological samples, security officers mapping Earth's defense grids, cultural analysts downloading complete histories with particular interest in conflict narratives. They're assessing threat levels, Rice concludes. The question is, why? We're obviously centuries behind their technology. Dr. Okafor manipulates the display to show the GA's evolutionary predictability doctrine. Their entire governmental structure is built around this concept. Species evolve in predictable patterns, technological development follows standard progressions, and societal structures conform to mathematical models. She highlights Earth's historical timeline. But look at us. From horse-drawn carriages to nuclear weapons in less than 2 centuries. From basic flight to Mars colonies in under 100 years. We're an aberration to their models. Intelligence Director Kagami interjects. Their doctrine can't account for our chaotic development, so instead of revising their theories, they're containing the anomaly. Rice finishes. Us. The implications sink in. Earth isn't being welcomed to galactic society. It's being isolated until the GA determines whether humanity represents a fundamental challenge to their understanding of civilizational development. Dr. Okafor rises slowly. "We have 2 choices. We can accept their restrictions, prove ourselves predictable over centuries until they gradually extend privileges. Or we can be exactly what they fear," Rice suggests, a dangerous gleam in her eye. "Unpredictable. Adaptive. Impossible to categorize or contain." The room falls silent as historical parallels become clear. Every time humans faced extinction, ice ages, plagues, world wars, they emerged stronger, more inventive, more determined. So, President Santiago asks from the head of the table, "What exactly are you proposing?" Dr. Okafor smiles thinly. A multi-phase response. On the surface, perfect diplomatic compliance. Meanwhile, we identify sympathetic council races, exploit regulatory loopholes, and quietly determine whether the GA's restrictions are truly universal law or merely very convincing intimidation. Admiral Reyes adds, "And we prepare contingencies. If they're determined to treat us as a threat, we should be prepared to become one." The Prometheus Protocol is born. The Prometheus Protocol's first operational meeting resembles a war council. In a chamber designed to defeat any surveillance, electromagnetic shielding, quantum interference generators, and good old-fashioned concrete, Earth's brightest minds assemble. Counterintelligence has identified 14 distinct GA monitoring methods within Earth's atmosphere alone. Colonel Layla Khoury reports, highlighting holographic nodes across a globe. Their biometric scanning capacity exceeds anything we've developed by orders of magnitude. Marcus Wong, still pale from his near capture at the GA embassy, displays the stolen files. Their monitoring stations aren't just observing. They're implementing active measures, signals designed to disrupt any propulsion systems using principles beyond their approved technologies. Like invisible fences for pets, mutters Admiral Rice. Precisely, Wong confirms. But it gets worse. He projects schematics of gene-specific biological agents. These are tailored pathogens designed to target human immune systems. They haven't deployed them, but the contingency exists. Dr. Eliza Chen, Earth's leading xenobiologist, studies the formulas with mounting horror. This isn't just theory. They've modeled human immune responses with extraordinary precision. They've been sampling our biology since arrival. The diplomatic skin tests, Dr. Okafor realizes, the standard protocol they insisted upon for all human representatives. The implications settle heavily. The GA's benevolent facade conceals preparations for potential extinction-level intervention if humanity proves too unpredictable. Admiral Rice paces the chamber. We're facing an adversary with millennia of experience subjugating developing civilizations. They control space access, communications, and possess weapons that can sterilize planets. Conventional resistance is suicide. Then we don't resist conventionally. Dr. Okafor counters. We've analyzed 17 distinct alien psychologies represented on the Council. Each has vulnerabilities. She activates files from Nyx Talon. The key vault evolved in high radiation environments. Their thought processes are quantum probabilistic, not linear. They naturally see multiple futures simultaneously, which makes them susceptible to statistical anomalies and pattern disruptions. The triumvirate species, however, adds cultural anthropologist Dr. Sampson, all evolved as hierarchical pack predators. Their psychology requires clear dominant structures. They literally cannot conceptualize cooperative advancement without hierarchy. That's why our historical development terrifies them. We've progressed through various systems, adapting rather than following a single evolutionary path. So we exploit their psychological blind spots, Wong suggests. But how do we operate under constant surveillance? Commander Nakamura steps forward, previously silent. The engineering genius looks exhausted, eyes bloodshot from sleepless nights. We don't try to defeat their technology directly. We use it against itself. She reveals schematics for what appears to be standard GA monitoring equipment. Their sensors operate on predictable frequencies because they've never needed to hide from their subjects. We can't escape detection, but we can feed their systems exactly what they expect to see. Dr. Chen's eyes widen. Technical camouflage. Precisely. Nakamura confirms. Phase 1 of Prometheus requires perfect mimicry of compliance, while we identify exploitable loopholes in their regulatory framework. Dr. Okafor grimaces. That means publicly accepting humiliating restrictions. Earth's population won't understand why we're appeasing the gay. Then we keep the resistance compartmentalized. Rice decides. Let the public believe we're following diplomatic protocols while this team, and only this team, implements Prometheus. The group solemnly reviews their roles in humanity's most critical covert operation. None speak the obvious. They're committing to a years-long deception against a vastly superior power. Discovery means extinction. For Earth, Dr. Okafor says simply. For Earth, they echo, beginning their dangerous game. Commissioner Vrelkor's inspection of the Chilean Agricultural Research Center proceeds exactly according to protocol. Human scientists bow respectfully, presenting modest improvements in drought-resistant wheat strains. The GA official towers over them, his translucent skin revealing shifting organs as he examines their work with 6 eyes that independently focus on different elements. Impressive yield increase, he acknowledges, stamping approval on their continued research, though still well within expected developmental parameters. Thank you, Commissioner. Dr. Okafor responds with practiced humility. Earth values the GA's guidance in our agricultural advancement. The moment Vrelkor's shuttle departs, the facade transforms. Hidden panels slide open in the laboratory floor. The real work emerges from underground bunkers, the wheat research merely a cover for the facility's true purpose. Dr. Okafor touches her secure communicator. Scarecrow has departed. Resume primary operations. Throughout the complex, scientists return to stations where the seemingly simple gene editing tools approved for agriculture are being repurposed for quantum biological computing. By encoding data within living plant cells, they've created organic processors undetectable to GA scanning technology. Status report, she demands. Chief Scientist Dr. Ngozi adjusts her neural interface. The biocomputational array is functioning at 94% efficiency. We've successfully mapped the structural components of their FTL communication relays using the medical scanner's quantum entanglement principles. Timeline to prototype: 3 months, assuming we maintain access to GAE-approved materials. Similar conversations occur across Earth. In Siberia, weather monitoring equipment transforms into sensor-evading metamaterials. Beneath Madagascar, approved soil enhancement technologies become the foundation for gravity manipulation systems. Each innovation technically derived from permitted technology, each facility presenting perfect compliance during inspections. The GA's fundamental mistake becomes increasingly clear. They've restricted human technological paths without understanding human cognitive adaptability. Where other species follow linear development, humans think laterally, connecting disparate concepts into unprecedented combinations. At the Neptune testing facility, Commander Nakamura observes as the prototype FTL drive initializes. Built entirely from agricultural and medical components, its revolutionary design bypasses conventional physics models. The GAE expects us to develop propulsion systems following standard evolutionary patterns. She explains to Admiral Rice via quantum-secured channel. They're monitoring searches for specific energy signatures associated with those development stages. And this system produces different signatures. No conventional signatures at all. We're using biological quantum entanglement to fold space rather than punch through it. Their sensors can't detect what they don't know to look for. Meanwhile, in GA Council chambers, Vrelkor presents his quarterly assessment of human development. The species continues along expected developmental trajectories, albeit with minor efficiency anomalies in permitted domains. A triumvirate member interrupts. These minor anomalies concern us. Their agricultural yields exceed models by increasingly significant margins. They focus obsessively on their permitted technologies. Vrelkor explains, when limited to farming, they become exceptionally good farmers. This pattern of hyperfocus appears throughout their psychological profile, and the probability of deviation from predicted technological paths. Less than 3%. Our containment protocols are working precisely as designed. Vrelkor displays compliance metrics showing perfect adherence to restrictions. What his charts can't show. The agricultural center he just inspected has already completed preliminary designs for interstellar vessels using principles the GA considers theoretically impossible. The medical research facility he'll visit tomorrow has developed quantum communication systems that bypass GA networks entirely. Humanity isn't just adapting to restrictions, they're thriving because of them. The regulatory boundaries have focused Earth's greatest minds on finding solutions no other species would conceive. As Dr. Okafor later tells Admiral Rice, they gave us a box to think inside. They just didn't realize we'd redefine the nature of the box itself. Admiral Rice stands before the Ghost Echo tactical display, watching as GA warships position themselves in Earth orbit. Their weapons systems pulse with energy signatures capable of reducing cities to ash within seconds. All fleet vessels are in position, Admiral. Her tactical officer reports. The GA remains unaware of our platforms. And civilian evacuation protocols. Complete. Population centers have implemented Emergency Protocol Sigma. Priority personnel are secure in hardened facilities. Rice studies the GA formation. 27 capital ships, each carrying enough firepower to sterilize a continent, arranged in textbook intimidation patterns. Their commanders expect no meaningful resistance, just another primitive species to be cowed into submission. Open secure channel to Ambassador Okafor. Dr. Okafor appears on screen, her diplomatic attire replaced by a military uniform. For 4 years, she has maintained the facade of submissive cooperation while helping orchestrate the most extensive technological resistance in human history. "It's time, Amara," Raiz says quietly. "Are you ready to show them who we really are?" Okafor's expression hardens. Authorization code Phoenix. Execute full operational disclosure. Throughout the solar system, hundreds of stealth platforms simultaneously power up targeting systems. Each represents a technological innovation that shouldn't exist according to GA developmental models, hybrid systems combining approved technologies in ways the GA never imagined possible. On Earth, population centers appear vulnerable, but are actually protected by energy diffusion fields developed from agricultural moisture retention systems. Orbital defense grids, hidden beneath the spectral signatures of approved satellite networks, lock onto GA vessels. Tactical analysis complete, reports Commander Davis. We have targeting solutions for all GA vessels. Simulations indicate 94% probability of neutralizing their fleet if they initiate hostilities. Raiz takes a deep breath. For 4 years, humanity has prepared for this moment while presenting a false face of compliance. The decision she makes now will determine Earth's future in the galactic community. Open direct channel to the GA flagship. Admiral Xantol's image appears, a towering, multi-limbed figure radiating confidence and disdain. "Human commander," he acknowledges with minimal courtesy. "Your species has violated fundamental provisions of your integration protocols. Prepare your world for immediate oversight restructuring." Raiz allows herself a small smile. "Admiral Xantol, I suggest you check your tactical sensors more carefully." Confusion flickers across the alien's features as his crew frantically reports new information. The human defenses, previously invisible to their sensors, now register on all scanning systems. The GA fleet's dominance advantage evaporates in seconds as they realize every vessel has multiple weapons locked on it. This is impossible," Xantol stammers. "Your species lacks the technological capacity for such systems." "According to your models," Raiz corrects. "Models that fail to account for human innovation." Now, shall we discuss Captain Diaz's navigational error more honestly? Or would you prefer a demonstration of capabilities your models deem impossible? On screens across both fleets, footage from Wong's intelligence operation begins playing. GA commanders receiving direct orders to eliminate the Cassini AI, regardless of its position, creating a pretext for tightened control. We have similar evidence regarding biological agents designed for human population control, suppression of technological information, and systematic violations of your own charter regarding developing species, Raiz continues. The question now, Admiral, is whether the GA wishes to establish diplomatic relations with humanity as equals, or if your triumvirate requires further evidence of their fundamental misjudgment. Throughout GA space, communications networks suddenly carry unauthorized transmissions, evidence of the triumvirate's manipulation spreading to thousands of worlds simultaneously. The carefully maintained narrative of benevolent oversight begins unraveling at unprecedented speed. In the GA flagship's command center, Admiral Xantol faces an impossible choice: follow orders that would initiate a war against an opponent far more dangerous than reported, or acknowledge that the most basic assumptions underlying GA authority have been catastrophically wrong. In the GA 8th Fleet's flagship, alarms blare as system after system falls to human cyber infiltration. Massive view screens flicker with cascading data breaches, classified files flowing like digital blood from a mortal wound. Shut it down. Admiral Xantol roars, all 6 limbs gesticulating frantically. Sever all communication nodes. His executive officer, Commander Vexinar, slams emergency protocols on a control panel. Sir, quantum isolation failing. They're bypassing security layers faster than we can erect them. On screens across the fleet, the evidence continues unspooling. Centuries of systematic species suppression, genetic tampering, technological sabotage, all to maintain the fiction of the GA's natural hierarchy. Most damning are the triumvirate's private communications regarding humanity. Subject species demonstrates alarming cognitive flexibility. Unlike standard evolutionary patterns, humans appear to evolve their thinking in real time, adapting problem-solving approaches without generational transitions. Most concerning, their technological progression bypasses expected developmental stages. Historical records indicate they transitioned from atmospheric flight to nuclear fission in less than 5 decades, a pattern unprecedented in our archives. Recommendation: maintain stringent containment protocols while determining whether complete neutralization is necessary. Under no circumstances should humans be permitted unrestricted technological development. In his secure command bunker, Marcus Wong orchestrates the most sophisticated information warfare campaign in human history. Screens surrounding him display real-time data flows across GA networks as his international team of cyber specialists, former adversaries now united, execute attacks developed through centuries of human-vis-human digital conflict. Their network architecture is fundamentally trusting, Wong explains to Admiral Rice via Secure Link. They built systems assuming authorized users are legitimate. No concept of zero-trust architecture because the triumvirate controls all technological development. In human terms, Rise asks, they never had to deal with hackers. Their civilization evolved without internal digital predators. We've had centuries of constant cyber warfare driving security evolution. On screen, GA emergency countermeasures deploy and fall in seconds. Their most advanced protection algorithms, designed to thwart known species attack methodologies, crumble against human approaches evolved through constant adversarial evolution. They're attempting emergency bandwidth isolation, reports Lieutenant Commander Park, Wong's deputy, switching to quantum entanglement transmission. This contingency, developed from GA-approved medical scanning technology, bypasses conventional communication channels entirely, maintaining information flow even as the GA frantically severs connections. Across 17,000 GA worlds, populations witness revelations of manipulation within their own histories. The Draconids see evidence of GA-engineered cognitive suppressants introduced centuries ago. The silicon-based crystalline collective learns their unique computational approaches were deliberately sabotaged to prevent quantum breakthrough. Species after species confronts tailored evidence of triumvirate interference in their development. In the GA Council chamber on Centauri Prime, pandemonium erupts. Representatives physically attack triumvirate members as security forces hesitate, uncertain where loyalty should fall as foundations crumble. Back on the flagship, Admiral Xan Fol receives increasingly desperate communications from Triumvirate Command. Deploy planetary suppression protocols immediately. The human infection must be contained. Authorization Omega-7. Sterilize Earth's population centers regardless of resistance capability. Xan Fol stares at the orders, then at the overwhelming human defenses surrounding his fleet. The evidence of GA manipulation continues streaming across his command screens, including manipulations against his own species generations ago. He makes his decision. This is Admiral Xan Fol of the GA 8th Fleet. He announces on an open channel, I am declaring my ship and all vessels under my command as neutral in this conflict. I formally request asylum for myself and crew members who choose to defect. Throughout the fleet, other commanders follow suit. The Triumvirate's control, maintained for millennia through information manipulation, disintegrates as the truth spreads uncontrollably. Wong leans back from his console, exhausted but triumphant. Admiral, he reports to Reyes, we've achieved full-spectrum information dominance. The GA communication infrastructure is now effectively ours. Reyes nods grimly. Begin Phase 6. It's time to build something better from these ruins. In the ancient crystal gardens of Earth's diplomatic compound, Dr. Okafor watches the Draconid ambassador absorb the horrifying truth. The reptilian diplomat's scales flush with color patterns indicating rage, grief, and resolute determination in rapid succession. 3 centuries, Ambassador Kvex hisses, claws gripping the data crystal so tightly it nearly cracks. 15 generations of my people struggling with neural degradation we attributed to evolutionary trade-offs. All this time, her third eyelid flickers rapidly, the draconid equivalent of fighting back tears. The suppressant compounds can be neutralized, Dr. Chen explains gently. We've developed a counteragent based on your genetic samples. Implementation would require significant medical coordination, but full cognitive recovery should be possible within 1 generation. Kvex's head frills extend fully, a sign of extreme emotional response. You developed this cure despite having only known of our existence for 7 years. 5 months, actually, Dr. Chen corrects. Once we identify the artificial nature of the enzyme inhibitors, the counteragent was relatively straightforward. The draconid stares in disbelief. My people's greatest minds have worked on this problem for centuries. Your greatest minds were the specific targets of the suppression, Dr. Okuffer explains. The GIE's intervention was designed to limit exactly the cognitive patterns needed to identify and solve the problem. It's a particularly cruel form of species control. Kvex rises to her full height, nearly 7 feet of iridescent scales and coiled muscle. The Draconid Imperium formally requests alliance with Earth and the Sovereign Species Alliance. Our 17 colony worlds and 40 battle cruisers stand ready to oppose triumvirate control. Similar scenes unfold across diplomatic channels as evidence of GIE manipulation reaches dozens of species. The silicon-based crystalline collective, whose unique computational approaches were deliberately sabotage. The aquatic Mercresh, whose worlds were systematically depleted of key resources to ensure dependence. On the Galactic Broadcasting Network, Nyx Talon speaks for the entire Kval civilization, their chrome-skinned form gleaming under studio lights. For millennia, we accepted the premise that development must follow predictable patterns. The humans have demonstrated this to be not merely incorrect, but a deliberate fiction designed to maintain unjust power structures. The Kval world ships, massive self-contained habitats housing billions, decouple from GIE space stations, their weapon systems active for the first time in centuries. The GIE triumvirate responds with increasing desperation. Trade sanctions, resource embargoes, threats of military intervention. Each action only drives more species toward the rapidly growing alliance as Wong's intelligence operatives ensure each punitive measure is accompanied by revealing more damning evidence. On Mars, Commander Nakamura unveils humanity's masterstroke to representatives from 32 species. The massive quantum array, constructed from technologies no one thought to restrict, pulses with energy that seems to bend reality itself. The Prometheus network operates through subspace dimensions the GA doesn't monitor, she explains, because their physics models categorize these dimensional planes as theoretically inaccessible. She activates the system. Across the galaxy, from Earth to the furthest Alliance worlds, instantaneous communication links establish, completely independent from GA infrastructure. The crystalline delegate's facets shimmer in amazement. You discovered these dimensional frequencies in merely 7 years. We stumbled upon them accidentally, Nakamura admits. Our mathematical frameworks approach physics differently than GAE-approved models. We asked questions their methodology doesn't consider. The implications ripple through the assembled representatives. With this network, the Alliance can coordinate without GA oversight, develop technologies without restriction, and build a parallel galactic community beyond triumvirate control. Ambassador Kvex addresses the gathering, her voice thick with emotion. The triumvirate named humanity dangerous. They were correct, but not as they intended. Humans are dangerous because they show us possibilities beyond the limitations we've accepted as natural law. As representatives return to their worlds carrying specifications for Prometheus network nodes, a new name solidifies: the Sovereign Species Alliance. What began as Earth's resistance becomes a galactic movement for liberation from technological and developmental control. In just months, nearly 40% of GA worlds quietly established connections to the Alliance, creating parallel infrastructure, sharing suppressed technologies, and preparing for the inevitable confrontation with a power that has controlled development for thousands of years. In her private quarters, Dr. Okafor reviews membership requests from 17 new species. "We never planned to lead a galactic revolution," she tells Admiral Rice. "We didn't," Rice replies. "We just showed them what freedom to develop actually looks like." The Galactic Authority Council chamber falls into uneasy silence following Dr. Okafor's ultimatum. 2,000 representatives from loyal GA worlds stare at the holographic displays showing thriving human colonies in regions their navigational models declared impassable. Supreme High Counselor Zax Turl rises from the triumvirate days, his massive form trembling with barely contained rage. Bioluminescent patterns cascade across his translucent skin in sequences indicating supreme authority, patterns that once commanded instant obedience. "You would dismantle millennia of stability for your primitive notions of equality." His voice resonates through the chamber. The galactic order requires predictable development, carefully managed advancement. Without our guidance, chaos would consume civilization itself. Dr. Okafor stands unintimidated before the towering alien. 7 years of diplomatic submission have been replaced by the quiet confidence of someone who knows she holds the winning hand. "No," she replies calmly. "The galaxy requires diversity, innovation, freedom for each species to evolve according to its unique potential." She gestures to the displays showing mixed populations of humans working alongside dozens of species. "You built your authority on the false premise that there is only one correct developmental path. Humanity's existence disproves your entire philosophical foundation." Murmurs spread through the chamber as representatives from worlds still loyal to the GA begin reconsidering allegiances. The evidence is undeniable. Humans have achieved in 7 years what the GA deemed impossible, bypassing established developmental pathways to create technologies that shouldn't exist according to their models. "This is sedition," Zax Turl roars. "Security forces, remove the human delegation." No one moves. The guards, having seen the same evidence as everyone else, stand motionless. In the painful silence, a voice speaks, not human, but Vrelkor, the very bureaucrat tasked with containing Earth's development. "High Counselor," he says, 6 limbs moving in formal patterns of respectful disagreement. "I have monitored human advancement for 7 years. Their achievements cannot be dismissed as anomalies. They have demonstrated that our fundamental models of species development are incomplete." Gasps echo through the chamber. For a senior GA official to question core doctrine is unprecedented. Zax Turl's skin flushes with patterns of threat display. "You overstep, Commissioner." "I speak only truth," Vrelkor continues. "The humans succeeded not despite our restrictions but because of them. Our constraints forced them to think in ways our models couldn't predict. They've proven that diversity of approach, not rigid adherence to established patterns, drives true innovation." Throughout the chamber, representatives begin vocalizing support. Species that remain neutral now openly question triumvirate authority. The carefully maintained balance of power visibly shifts. Dr. Okafor seizes the moment. The Sovereign Species Alliance offers a choice. Reform the Galactic Authority into a truly representative body, where all species have equal standing and technological development is unrestricted. Or maintain your current structure, ruling an ever-diminishing portion of known space as we expand beyond your borders. She activates a final display showing the Peacekeeper fleet's diminished status. Hundreds of vessels now pledged to the Alliance, their commanders having seen irrefutable evidence of triumvirate deception. "Your military advantage is gone," Admiral Rice adds. "Your information monopoly is broken. Your technological suppression has failed. The only question remaining is whether you will adapt or become obsolete." Zax Turl draws himself up to his full 15-foot height, ancient pride warring with political reality. For millennia, The triumvirate has maintained absolute authority through careful manipulation of information, technology, and species development. Now, in less than a decade, humans have shattered their fundamental control mechanisms. "You cannot possibly understand the consequences of what you propose," he says, genuine fear entering his voice. "The established order exists for a reason. Without controlled development, species have destroyed themselves and others. We have witnessed civilizational collapse across thousands of worlds." Perhaps, Dr. Okafor acknowledges. But suppression is not the answer. Partnership is. Collaboration between diverse perspectives creates stronger solutions than any single developmental path. As the council chambers descend into intense debate, representatives from previously loyal worlds approach the human delegation. One by one, they formally request admission to the Sovereign Species Alliance. The age of controlled evolution is ending, not through violence or conquest, but through the simple, devastating power of a better idea. 3 days after the administrative strike paralyzes Centauri Prime, representatives from 900 species gather in the Grand Council chamber. The space, once arranged in hierarchical tiers, with the triumvirate elevated above all others, has been reconfigured into a perfect circle, with each delegation positioned as equals. Dr. Okafor takes her place among them, no longer representing just Earth, but humanity's vision for a transformed galactic society. Beside her stands Admiral Reyes, Commander Nakamura, and Marcus Wong, the architect of the information campaign that exposed centuries of manipulation. Zax Turl enters last, his massive form diminished somehow, flanked not by honor guards, but by junior administrators who orchestrated the peaceful revolution. The chamber falls silent as the former Supreme High Counselor approaches the central podium. For 12,000 years, he begins, bioluminescent patterns subdued. The Galactic Authority has guided species development according to evolutionary models we believed immutable. We were wrong. The admission sends murmurs through the assembly. Our failure was not in seeking stability, but in enforcing conformity at the expense of innovation. He turns to the human delegation. Humanity forced us to confront a truth we have forgotten. Diversity of approach creates resilience. A single developmental path, no matter how optimized, creates vulnerable civilizations. The formal dissolution of the Galactic Authority proceeds with surprising dignity. In its place rises the Galactic Cooperative, a governing body founded on principles of species equality, technological freedom, and cultural exchange. As the Charter of Cooperative Principles is ratified, Dr. Okafor finds herself approached by Vril Kaur, the bureaucrat whose reports once restricted human development. "I spent years documenting human anomalies," he admits, multiple eyes blinking in sequence. "I never understood what I was truly witnessing until it was too late." "And what was that?" Okafor asks. "The fundamental flaw in our models. We assumed technological progress required consistency, predictable advancements along established paths. Humanity demonstrated that cognitive diversity, even chaotic development, creates breakthroughs impossible in controlled environments." Across the transformed chamber, delegates from previously suppressed species confer with human scientists, exchanging approaches to problems unsolved for generations. The Draconids share advances in quantum biology now that their cognitive inhibitors have been neutralized. The Crystalline Collective demonstrates computational approaches impossible within J-approved frameworks. A week later, on Earth, a memorial service honors Captain Alejandro Diaz and the crew of the Cassini Via. Their families gather before a monument depicting the mining vessel, its structure formed from materials contributed by every world in the new cooperative. Admiral Reyes addresses the assembly. Their sacrifice revealed the true nature of a system that valued control over potential. In exposing that system, they became the catalyst for transformation that will benefit countless worlds across the galaxy. As the ceremony concludes, Commander Nakamura and her Kival colleagues unveil plans for the first truly cooperative interstellar venture, a massive exploration initiative using technologies developed through cross-species collaboration. Vessels combining human innovation, Kival quantum physics, Krakonid biotechnology, and crystalline computational approaches will chart regions beyond former GA space. That evening, in a quiet moment at the memorial, Marcus Wong stands before a classroom of multi-species children, the first generation to grow up in the new galactic order. The GA believed predictability was the path to advancement, he tells them. They measured species development against rigid models, never understanding that true progress emerges from diversity of thought. A young Draconid raises a scaled hand. Was humanity really that different? Wong smiles. Our history was chaotic, filled with conflict, competing ideas, and constant adaptation. When the GA tried to contain us, they didn't realize they were restricting the very qualities that defined us. Our greatest strength was never our technology, but our unwillingness to accept arbitrary limitations. As twilight settles over the memorial, visitors from dozens of worlds leave tokens of respect. Among them, a data crystal containing a simple phrase now spreading through diplomatic archives across the galaxy, an ancient Earth saying that captured the fundamental error of the Galactic Authority. The most dangerous words in any language are, "We've always done it this way."